Now for the countdown is the same we learned in the JavaScript module. So we are going to create the basic HTML with a section class countdown, so we can add specific style to it. And then we have another divider with the class containers, so we apply the same styling as all our website. And we are going to center the text. This is going to be another utility class because the text is very common to center it, okay, with a heading and the divider where we will have the countdown itself, okay. This ID is not for the JavaScript. We will select, in this case, instead of selecting the full text, we are going to be selecting separately the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds, and we will changing each of those values so we can have it in different boxes and have its own styling, okay. Those boxes will be styled by timer box, and we are going to add some responsive styling with flex wrap, and justify center, which are also going to be utility classes that we're going to be using over and over, okay. So let me show you. The utility classes make the content to be in the middle, okay. So let me, but why? It's not the default of flex, okay. So let me show you here, okay. So we have here the flex container, okay. First, when we add the flex display, instead of each divider taking one full line, they are now one next to the other, taking the width they need, okay. We covered this in the CSS module. Then we justify the content to the center, okay. So it's aligned at the middle, okay. But we can change it. Maybe we can add space between, okay. So there is the space around, so it's the same spacing around each element, or space between. So all the space is between the elements. It's more or less the same, but these two elements are at the top maximum left and maximum right, okay. So there are multiple space center, okay. So there are multiple layouts we can use, and then we add a text wrap. That's used because if I click here and I make a very small screen, you can see this is taking the maximum width, and it's making some weird layouts right here when we have very small devices, okay. Let me even make a little bit of zoom so you can see it clearly, okay. So when I go when I pass a certain point, it starts doing breaking the layout, okay. If we add text wrap, then when each of these elements doesn't have enough space to take, it will create a new line, okay. The same with text, okay. Text right here, you can think it as of text. Each word, when they don't have enough space, they go in a new line, okay. We can even change this behavior, but that behavior is the default when you have text, when you have display flex right here, okay. So this display flex, if we add flex wrap, when it doesn't have enough spacing, it will take a new line, okay. Now we add the specific styling for the countdown, okay. So we add a background, some padding for each of the boxes. Sorry, that's the main container. We are adding a gray background and some padding, so we have this spacing at the top and the bottom. Then each box will be with a white background, some padding, border radius right here, and it will have some margin, okay. So we have this spacing, and in between elements, okay. The padding is inside the box, the margin is outside, and it will be aligned to the center, okay. So very simple, okay. The same with the span is the text itself that will be inside, okay. So we are in the display block and the font size, okay. So this will give us the basic styling. Again, if you need time, stop this lesson, inspect the elements, try to change each of those things to know how are they being applied, okay. So you can see here we have the timer box, okay. So if I change the timer box to red, you see these changes, okay. If I add, instead of 5 pixels, 50%, okay, is this border radius that we are changing, okay. And I'm trying to understand each of the parts. And now we go to the JavaScript. We first define a function countdown, okay. We have already seen this. We get the date we want it to end at, so it's the 31 of December of next year, and we get the time, so we have it in Unix timestamp. We create a set interval, okay. We make it inside a countdown function constant, because this way we can clear it, okay. Let me show you here, clear interval, okay. I showed you in the JavaScript course that if the distance is smaller than 0 because the time has already passed, we are going to say, okay, offer expire. In this case, we are going to add a heading 3. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so if this is 2023, well, sorry, first I have to add the countdown function so it's working, okay, in the main function, because the main function is called when the DOM content is loaded. Again, we're going some steps ahead because I want you to advance and start understanding more advanced concepts, okay? So we are declaring a function and we are calling it inside the main function, which is being called when the DOM content is ready, okay? So if I refresh the page, when the DOM is ready, it starts working at the first interval, okay? So we are getting the distance. If I add here a date that has already passed, if I show you, the offer has expired, okay? Great, that's just what I wanted to show you. But we are not only changing this, because if you only change this and don't clear the interval, let me show you, console.log working, okay? So each time this, let me add 2025. And now if I go to the console, working, so it will be called, the function, it keeps working, okay? But if let me comment this right here. If I add a date that has already passed, okay, 2023, although the offer has expired, it's working. You can see it here, 5, 6, 7. It's not working well because there are some elements that are not there because we are removing all the elements, okay? But let me do it this way, okay, working. So although this we don't want it to be working, it's working, okay? So if we clear the interval right here, it works only once, but when it checks that the distance is smaller than 0, it clears the interval and this interval stops working, okay? This is for optimization and speed, because if you have so many code working when you don't want it to be working, the page will be slower, okay? So it's really simple to do. Instead of defining the set interval here, we define it inside a constant, and then we can say clear interval and that constant right here, okay? So now everything works as expected. When it's finished, it says offer expire and it's not working anymore, okay? This code right here is not working. Great. So that's the countdown, and I'm going to make this again a date that's going to pass in a while, and we have a working countdown that updates, and it has different blocks, okay? So I wanted to make something more complex. Instead of being in a single paragraph, we have a timer box with spans that select the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds in different HTML elements. So we can manipulate them exactly. We can manipulate this exactly as the thing that we want. Okay, the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. And we are making the transformation we already learned in the JavaScript module. Okay, so this is the countdown section with the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS.